Hi guys, Dan here with Battlefield Curator, and we're gonna go over some reasons why you should own an M1 Garand. And for those of you that don't know what an M1 Garand is, it's funny, who doesn't know what an M1 Garand is? The M1 Garand is legendary. Known as U.S. Rifle Caliber 30 M1, it's a semi-automatic, American-made U.S. service rifle used from World War II up until around Vietnam. Alright, so a huge reason why people have the M1 Garand in their collections is the history of the rifle. George S. Patton called this rifle the greatest battle implement ever devised. You gotta remember, this was the only semi-automatic rifle that was issued as a standard service rifle during World War II. It was designed by Canadian-American John C. Garand in 1928. After trials testing, it was selected as the U.S. service rifle starting in 1936. From then, it would be manufactured at Springfield Armory in Winchester. Production ramped up in 1941 after the U.S. entered the war. Because of its semi-automatic design, the M1 Garand gave U.S. combat troops a firepower advantage over the Axis. When the Korean War kicked off, Springfield Armory, Harrington and Richardson, and International Harvester would produce M1 Garands for that war. It did see a little action during the Vietnam War, but it would be phased out in favor of the M14. The rifle would also see action in other conflicts because it was lend-leased as aid to some countries, like Korea, South Vietnam, Turkey, Iran, and interestingly enough, during the current Iraq and Afghan wars, we saw some M1 Garands that were used by terrorist groups. Let's take a little intermission and pulverize that like button and subscribe if you haven't. Now, another reason why these M1 Garands are so collectible is the legendary factor. This rifle was used by the greatest generation during some rough times to fight a very, very evil foe. And as the greatest generations pass away, these rifles are what remain to pass on their legacy and remind us of the struggles and hardships they went through. The M1 Garand has been portrayed in all kinds of media like TV shows, video games, movies, posters, you name it. The M1 Garand is legendary. So a good reason why people enjoy this rifle is because it's easy to use, easy to disassemble, and easy to clean. No tools are required for a field strip, and you can easily clean the rifle out if need be. And it's an enjoyable rifle to take to the range and shoot. And it fires a 30-06, which is a powerful cartridge that can be used for long distances. So, one of the biggest reasons why people like this rifle is its collectibility. The M1 Garand is highly collectible and is seen as a prized possession among any gun enthusiast. Over time, not only have the rifles become collectible, but a lot of the parts have as well. Because of the different manufacturers, Springfield, Winchester, Harrington, Richardson, and International Harvester, a lot of these parts were changed up over time, and some of the rarer parts might sell at auction for a pretty high price. And because of some of the configuration changes over time, an original rifle such as a gas trap model might go for a premium at auction. There were also other configurations such as the sniper models like the M1C and the M1D. So another big reason why people collect the M1 Garand is their value. They tend to go up or at least retain their value over time. But the reality is, there's just a high demand and a short supply. Just over 6 million were made from 1936 to 1957. And if you think about it, that's a lot less than the tens of millions of Mosin Nagants made. Some of these rifles may be still stored in overseas countries. There is such a demand for these historic rifles that it's hard to find them for a pretty good price. But that also brings up another topic. Though these rifles can be bought at auction, gun shows, or your local gun store for a high price, they are actually fairly cheap if you go through the CMP, the Civilian Marksmanship Program. That's right, these rifles can be bought from the CMP starting at around $650. The CMP is a non-profit government-chartered organization that assists civilians with marksmanship, training, and safety. They have gotten batches of M1 Garands from the government that have been lend-leased and sell them to the civilian market for cheaper than auction dollar. A lot of experienced collectors go to the CMP and hand-pick out their rifles. You can get one through mail order though. There are some eligibility requirements in order to purchase an M1 Garand from the CMP, so I will link the CMP's website below. So, the last reason, the M1 Garand is fun to use. You take it to the range, you shoot the 8 rounds, and you hear that distinguishable ping sound. Uses of the M1 Garand can include hunting, sports shooting, competition shooting, etc. And if anything, some people might just use it as a display piece and maybe take it out to the range once every few years. Alright guys, let me know in the comments if you got any reasons to collect the M1 Garand. And if you like this video, don't forget to check out some of my other videos on the channel. And as always guys, make it a great day.